o seu silêncio dissesse tudo, sentimento bom que me leva pro outro mundo. A vontade de te ver já é maior que tudo. Não existem distâncias no meu novo mundo, tipo coisas da sétima.
What's up? Episode 78, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here with Kane Kong Marzola here in Las Vegas. What's going on today, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing? Thanks for having me again.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm doing tremendous. It hasn't been too hot today, and it's a bit of an inferno of a place in the summer, so it's always a good time when it's cool in Las Vegas in the summer. But you're back at it again, making your return to professional combat at WFC 95, man. September 8th. How's training been going?
Man, it's going wonderfully. You know, I'm getting better every second and just capitalizing on the breaths that I've been fortunate enough to still have. And, you know, I fight for a purpose, and it's for all the combat veterans that are out there suffering and trying to decrease this number on veteran suicide, you know, let them know that you can overcome anything and still, you know, fight for something. You know, the impossible is possible.
Yeah, man, that's you got lots of groups out there now that are, you know, bringing awareness to that. The 22, right? The Mission 22s, and I know there's a number of organizations out there, and yeah, I've seen you kind of working with some, just, you know, your social media posts on Facebook and stuff, you know, sort of raising awareness, and has that been like a big part of your you know, this year? I mean, I see you're still spending like quite a bit of time with that. Are you able to fit that in with the training and everything?
I am. I make the time for it, you know, because to me, it's all about personal development. It's not just about fighting in a ring. It's about, you know, always presenting yourself and trying to achieve the best version of yourself, you know, throughout your entire life, you know, every second.
So, I mean, your sort of what martial arts did for you. I mean, we talked about this stuff a while ago. It's been a good while, you know, 70 or so of these ago, and you know, you're talking about sort of your journey, and kind of the recap was you're in the military for a stretch, and you went through some things, and then, you know, you got out, and you know, you weren't exactly in the best place, and you know, you got a twin brother that kind of dragged you into the gym, and you know, and MMA and, you know, martial arts in general, like it really had a positive impact on your life, and it's a beautiful thing to hear, man. So I mean, what was that transition like? Like, just when you first started training, like, was it something like you fell in love with it instantly, or like was it like a gradual thing? No,
I fell in love with it instantly. I saw that it was my way out of that dark place, and, you know, a way to be in the best place, you know, I think that I've ever been at.
So is it, I mean, in the military, it was funny. I was listening to a thing on, like Jesse Body Ventura. He's a former Navy SEAL, right?
Yeah.
Controversial guy, you know, just for a number of reasons, but that's nothing interesting to me. The thing he mentioned about sort of the ex-military guys is like, you know, it's very competitive. Like, everybody is always like very competitive with each other. Like, inside the military, like we're not at war. It's like we fight with each other, right? It's like Army against Navy against, you know, Marines against, you know, Air Force, whatever. But so you think that the competition and then like the team environment, like that camaraderie, like do you think like those are like two of the, is that like the main bit, or is it just like actually getting out there and grinding on the mat, or like just like all of it?
I do think the camaraderie is similar. You know, the team is getting better together because you needed to have good training partners and not hurt them, and have them not hurt you, and have you guys both be open to learning new techniques and practicing them in a safe way, but efficiently, you know, so you can really throw that technique on when it counts, you know, when you really need to use the technique. But I definitely believe it's similar, and I think that's why veterans would benefit from, you know, trying mixed martial arts as an alternative therapy for post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. I know the guys, you know, some people back in, you know, my neck of the woods in the Bay that you know, they work with Mission 22, and like they've all been to Iraq and stuff, and to them, I mean, jiu-jitsu, MMA has been like a big help for them, and I see it. Just people have been through some stuff, just from whatever walk of life, like trauma. I feel like it's the outlet you need. Because like I feel like it's easy to bottle stuff up. I haven't even been in the military, man, and like if I didn't have jiu-jitsu, like not just physically but emotionally, like I don't know where my life would be. Like it's definitely saved my life a number of times, and just gets me in the right mindset. So I know the gym's doing what it's supposed to do. Is like you walk in feeling better than you felt walking out. I don't care if you're hurt. You know what I mean? If you put in an honest day's work and you come out of that gym session like feeling like you earned that meal, it's like it's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Like you evolved.
Yeah. Like I feel like if I don't work hard enough, I feel like if I don't earn that meal, like I feel like shit. Like I don't feel good about myself. It's like like when you're not being honest with yourself, like you don't work that hard, but like you just kind of like hang out a little bit, just kind of you get tired. Is there any number of bitch assness excuses? Like they'd call it like BJJ bitch assness. Like you're like when somebody wins, that's how they say like if somebody wins their match or somebody wins a fight, like or they lose rather, you would basically say oh he was so strong, or oh he was cheating, or he's doing this. It's like just instant excuses to like not look at yourself honestly and be like, no man, I was slipping, I wasn't training hard enough, or what I'm saying. So I don't know, bitch assness, it's a bad thing. Like, I think you have to always like be honest with yourself, and I think feeling like you really earned that meal is huge. And like I don't always feel like I earned the meal. I feel like shit. And like it's motivation the next day to go back and grind harder.
Yeah, you gotta put in that work, man. Get the results you want.
Yeah, for sure, man. So your card coming up for WFC. I've seen this name around. They've been around quite a while, man. 95. This is their 95th event, and they tend to have some names on these. Like, what's your camp been like going into this? You're over at One Fight Team or Vanderlei Silva's gym in Vegas. You have some studs over there, man. Like, what's the work like? What's like?
We've got a lot of guys, just won some titles, and guys got fights coming up. The atmosphere is, man, nothing but warrior vibes. Humble, but everybody in there is preparing to rumble. We're coming in hot.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man. It's one of the more well-known gyms around the valley. You always see guys in those Tough Enough shows and different promotions here locally, and it's one of the big three in the area, right? So you have you guys, of course, the Extreme Couture guys are around, and then I guess Syndicate's one of the big ones now. I mean, or it's been for a while. That's a big building, man. Have you been inside?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Like it doesn't seem like it needs to be that big, really. It's like you could put airplanes in there and you'd have plenty of room to spar. But cool guys over there for sure. Las Vegas is full of talent, man. Everywhere you look, there's some world champion jiu-jitsu guy teaching classes just randomly, and then just MMA legends here. Like we were talking about One Kick earlier. He's out here.
Yeah, I've been to his gym. He's a cool guy too.
Man, should be a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, you notice that a lot within the MMA community, that a lot of the guys, the fighters, they're really humble. They're not really too arrogant, and they're willing to say what's up when you see them on the street or maybe training.
Yeah, I haven't really ran into any egos or anything. You think at some point you would, right, or had a bad experience, but some of the bigger names that I've met, like just over the years and stuff, have been like the most approachable and humble and stuff. I mean, I ran into Anderson Silva at an airport years ago, and he was really friendly. I didn't realize it was him at first. He was like wears glasses and a tracksuit, like just totally casual, and going back to Brazil for Christmas, and just like bumped into me. He's like asked me which one was Sao Paulo or Rio or whatever. Rio's right there. So I was flying at the next gate to Sao Paulo, and they were going home to Rio for Christmas or something. It was pretty cool. You would think like, oh, this is a superstar. Like any other sport, like they're liable to be a dick. Like every time you hear like this TMZ stuff, like this person did this to a fan or fucking, I don't know. But martial arts, I think I think it's special, man. Maybe just because like I'm in it, but I think we got something special, and it's cool that you can have this whole big promotion for a fight, and the guys get down and there's bleeding and broken shit and concussions and whatever else, but then at the end of it everybody shakes hands and hugs, and it's this whole, like a lot of times you see like past rivals that are friends now and stuff, just like you went to combat together,
Yeah, you earn each other's respect.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. That's one way to do it for sure, man. It's that's got to be crazy, man. It's just going and getting in a cage with another dude in front of in your underwear in front of thousands of people, man. It's cool.
It's a real experience.
It takes balls, man. So you had quite a few fights amateur, then you moved on to your pro career. Like, was the transition to pro much different? Did you like?
No, I just knew I was ready. You know, I knew it was my time, and I didn't have too much time to waste. You know, I'm only getting older. You know, and I know this is a young man's sport, but I still got some good time in me. You know, and I'm ready to show everybody how hard I've been working. You know, and it's not my fault that I don't have that many professional fights. I've been trying to find fights. It's just been hard to find competition.
Yeah, there's one of my guys, Anthony Doe. He just fought for a flyweight title, like 115 strawweight, right? Strawweight.
Yeah.
And it's for some promotion called URCC. It was URCC. It's like a Philippines-based MMA promotion. They were doing shows in the United States. It's like there's so many of these promotions popping up, and it's probably gonna sound ignorant. Like someone's gonna say, "Oh man, they've been around forever." Like you don't know what you're talking about. But like I've never been to the Philippines, so. But yeah, it's crazy. Like the demand's there, the fighters are there, and you know people are watching it. You got Fight Pass. You can watch MMA 24/7 now. It's like it's amazing how much the sport's grown. Like, aren't we? We're moving on International Fight Week, isn't it? Like very soon.
Yeah, I think it is coming up.
It's like next week or something, right?
Yeah.
It's just, this whole town turns into MMA. Everything's MMA. Like, it's crazy. It's cool. It's blown up. I know Masters Worlds for IBJJF is this coming week. It's like a 5-day long event. Like, it's crazy. It was just 93 when this kicked off. Like it was the first one, and it's not no one really knew what they were watching. Like this ain't pro wrestling. Then all of a sudden, it's some dude fighting in pajamas turns into, in 2018, you got Conor McGregor, you got Kane Kong Marzola, you got, DC walking around with 2 titles, and Fox, and, it's just crazy the growth of the industry, man. It's insane. Like, this exists. There's a podcast talking about it. Like, all of the surrounding businesses, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to, like, be there, like, in the middle of a history book as it's being written.
I feel like a pioneer, right?
Huh?
I feel like a pioneer.
I feel like one of the old guys now. You know what I mean? Like,
man, there's there's no such thing as old, man. Only knowledge acquired.
I'm trying to fill in the blanks because I'm trying to catch up and remember most of it, man.
Right. When you're attaining knowledge, it usually feels like you're always trying to play catch up.
I'll tell you what, man. With jiu-jitsu and stuff, I feel like I'm up to speed. Like with MMA stuff, like in terms of the growth of the sport, maybe not the application of each different discipline, but certainly fundamentally how things work and movement and stuff. But it's the other stuff I feel old about, music and what people wear, and like the 2018 culture of like, I don't know. I think it would be weird to be young now, like, teenager, 20s or something.
Yeah, I don't know who's singing what. I don't know what brands, what clothes. I'm so focused on training that, that everything else I'm shut off to.
I just know I hear the music and I think it's largely bad. And I think that's something old people say. So I was like, I guess I'm getting old, man, because like I don't think any of the music's good. But I didn't like a lot of it when I was a kid anyway. I thought like most of the MTV stuff was kind of lame, but I don't know. Man, got these nice posters and everything. World Fighting Championships. Fight starts 8 p.m. Where is... Oh, this is Laughlin and the Avi... The AVI? Avi or Avi?
Avi.
The Avi Resort and Casino. I almost worked a job in Laughlin in like 2001. I worked in Prim for like 3 nights. You know that outlet mall right there?
Mm-hmm.
I went to them like when I first moved to Las Vegas, I think 2001, and I went over to Manpower. So I'm like, I need to get a job.
Yeah, I've worked for Manpower before.
Yeah, see? And they're like,
they hooked me up. Thank you, Manpower.
Manpower hooked it up, and it wasn't bad. It was like $20 an hour, but then they said it was unloading trucks and refurnishing the outlet mall, the actual retail stores. So I think it was Calvin Klein or Tommy Hilfiger, Nautica or something. But they were these giant displays, like the you put the clothing on, and they're not just tables at those malls. These are massive, like giant single piece, awkwardly shaped, freaking super heavy, displays, like this big ass like mall furniture shit. I don't know what you'd call it. But it was, 9 hours overnight. You'd have to get there at like 11 at night after it's all closed and cleaned and shit. And you'd be there until the mall basically opens, until the old people start walking around and shit. They open the mall a little early and like old people like walk around. Like they go for their walks in the mall before it opens. That's a thing. I know.
Is that a thing?
I know that now. Yeah.
I didn't know that's a thing.
I don't know if every town has it, but a lot of towns they open the mall earlier when the employees are opening it up, and just the elderly will just like walk around, like
getting into physical training. That's motivating, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. You see like a bunch of 80-year-olds in there, and that's how I knew it was time to go home.
Time to go in there and get a workout, man. Go for a walk.
Oh, dude, that work was a workout, dude. it was trying to furnish an outlet mall, and it doesn't sound like anything, but go to any outlet mall, like the big ones, and try to like just like budge one of those tables. They're made of fucking granite or something. I don't know what the hell they're made of, but it was heavy,
solid.
Yeah, like it didn't make any sense. There was no reason for that. Like this table we're at right now, this would be a fine table to put some t-shirts on. It would work just as well. Look, there's a wallet right there. It's a lovely wallet, right? I'm thinking, see, if that was a t-shirt, I could just be like, but they were these giant fixtures that made no sense, and it took days to do this shit. We had to go back the next night, and then it was time to move on to Nautica. So we moved on to Nautica or whatever the hell it was. And yeah, that's probably up to date, even after doing other martial arts and wrestling and being like having injuries. I think that's the most hurt I've felt up to that point in my life. Just moving all that shit. Sounds pretty weak.
Yeah. Now sometimes I see injuries. They suck in the beginning, but then they are actually kind of a blessing because they make you focus on other parts of your game. Whether mental or physical. Things you wouldn't normally work on. You work around the injury, but you're developing other parts of your game that you wouldn't have thought about necessarily.
Have you had any good ones previously? I mean, injuries.
No, man. I'm made of steel.
Oh, that's it. Well, yeah. I mean, you can bend steel. So a Superman can. I've had MCLs. I've had knees go. Those sucked. Stupid stuff. Training, it hasn't really been that bad. The worst injury I've actually had was my neck, and it was in a car. 14 or 15 years or something rolling, and nothing bad, right? Knee, who knows, a finger or something, a shoulder, not really. Oh yeah, my elbow. I had the right elbow torn when I first started, but nothing too bad. But the car. I was a passenger in a car and busted my neck. This dude hit a fucking curb and a pole, and I'm like, lost control of the car, spun out. And
even when you're in pain, you still march on, right?
Yeah, man. Like
can't stop.
It's weird. It's one of them things where, it's messed up and it's limiting, but you try to figure out how to like fill in the blanks, and you try to do what you can still do. I think it's too easy to just use it as an excuse to just go easy or to use it as an excuse for other stuff,
Yeah. I look at it like all the other senses get stronger.
Yeah, it's like Daredevil.
Everything must get stronger around it. We'll protect it while it heals.
Yeah, it's I think it was my right knee. I tore my right MCL years ago, and that was when I really started to develop an open guard, because I realized like I couldn't pivot on my right knee, but while it was still healing, but I could keep it straight in and out. Like I walk as long as I don't pivot or transfer my weight laterally, like no lateral movement. So I would do like that daily Hiva Hook with my left leg, and I'd use my right foot as like a kind of a range finder, like for depth. I would just take my foot and like kind of check the inside of the knee or the inside of the thigh. Then I'd move up to the bicep or the shoulder. Then I'd go to the hip, and I just kind of, go to the inside of the bicep, put the knee pummel, and I'd go back down to the leg and just keep messing with them back and forth. But I'd have them wrapped up with the other leg, which I could still bend, and I would be able to, I'm just basically describing daily Hiva guards, nothing special, but the idea was like, I knew that I had front to back, forward and reverse movement with that leg, but I didn't have the other. But I could compensate that by using my grips and using the other leg for the angle and using my hip for the angle. So that really, having that injury allowed me to explore like kind of the fundamentals of how that guard worked and like what body mechanics were required for it. So like you said, it strengthened not just the techniques, it helped me to understand them better and to like understand like the fundamentals of how they work better. So like it strengthened the mind part as well. And I guess the resolve, because you didn't quit, or I didn't quit, I don't fucking know. But yeah, for sure, man. Injuries, I think like they're a big part of the development, right? You gotta break scar tissue up to fucking find new life and new tissue and stuff. So get that movement back. It took a while to heal, but by the time it did, I think just one day I forgot it was hurt, and it just wasn't anymore.
Just stop thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Stop babying it.
Yeah, it was as soon as I forgot I had a knee injury, because you get so used to just like, just 70%, 60%, just you hop around a little bit and you compensate. And I guess finally I compensated enough to where it just wasn't a thing anymore, and just went back and it was gone. So, the Man of Steel.
Yeah, training's been going really good, man, for this fight coming up. I've been working every part of this game, man, whether it's wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, my personal style, Kane Kong Fu, just looking at everything, studying tape, really just being a student of martial arts and just updating the knowledge and practicing everything, just really developing my game. And it's going to be awesome to display the skills, and everyone's going to know without a doubt that I've been putting in some serious work, so that I recommend that no one blinks.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a long night. What, you know anything about your opponent?
I know he's as good. I know he's a worthy opponent. I know he's gonna bring the fight. He's 4-1, but I don't believe in necessarily thinking about the opponents too much, because an issue that I've had my entire career is that the opponent's name is always changing. I show up to the fight and it's not even the same person. It's 3 people later, so at the last fight, I didn't even get to fight. I had 2 guys show up, shake my hand, both agree to fight me, and both leave the arena. Didn't even step into the cage.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was just as surprised as you, man.
I had it happen. I had it happen once at a jiu-jitsu gi tournament, and it wasn't someone in my. I think they were trying to make a division. It was me and this other guy, and we both were in separate divisions. I think I was a weight below his. Yeah, he was ultra heavyweight and I was super, and whoever was scheduled to be in our brackets both bailed or all bailed or whatever. And then his coach, came up to me like right when I'm waiting in the bullpen to figure out what's going on, and he comes over and the guy shook my hand and he's have a good night. He was offered the match and just said no. Just went and got his medal and participation trophy and went home, which was kind of lame. But
yeah, it's not, Warriors don't do that.
I think what he wanted was weird. He wanted to compete as an exhibition, and we both keep our gold medals for our division. Like we would both, no matter who won, he wanted us both to have gold medals. Like I'm like,
no, I'll fight you for it.
Well, you can. How about this? you can have mine anyway. Let's just like we paid. It's one thing, I guess, because like we're paying to be there. So of course you want to do your best and win, but you're going out there. That's a payday. Like you train your ass off. It's MMA. You're out there getting, someone swinging for the fences in a cage at your head, and you train for it. You got a camp to take care of. They're hoping you fight, and then the dude doesn't, or multiple dudes don't. It's got to be a little discouraging, man.
Actually, this time around, it wasn't discouraging because the promoter, Matt McGovern, for World Fighting Championships is a class act, and still brought me into the cage, gave me the microphone, let me give my speech to veterans in the audience, and paid me my show money and win money.
Jesus.
So it was a blessing. It was a blessing. Even though I didn't get to fight, I still got compensated for it, and I got to speak to the crowd, and that's what it's about. It's about the message, and that's everyone who knows me knows that's what I fight for. I've told you last time, every second to me is bonus time. I've already been through enough, and I'm excited what life still has in store for me, but I know who I am and where I stand, and this, what you see is what you get.
Man, so the compensation part, without actually getting to fight is super rare. You don't hear of it often. Definitely not the win money also, but actually that he had I think it's a really classy thing to do, just to give you the platform, and get to go out there. You do if any message was worthy of going out and actually saying out loud, I feel like especially in like 2018 when the world's crazy. There's a crazy ass world, man. Everywhere you look, it's crazy. I don't have cable on purpose. People tell me about shit that's on the news, and I mean, between that and reality TV is stupid, and just I can't. So that you actually have a message where there's substance, and you're talking about something that's saving people's lives literally, and making people's lives better, and helping them reintegrate basically with civilian life, when that's not always the freaking easiest thing to do, even for civilians, man. It's a weird world. So it's cool that the promoter was down to
I mean, I did everything that I could possibly do in my power. I trained my ass off. I cut a shit ton of weight, made weight, shook the guy's hand. He got all arrogant and was showboating at the weigh-ins, but I could just see in his eyes, I just saw it. I was like, no, I knew that he wasn't going to make it to the ring, and saw the same thing with the second guy. And they told me 4 o'clock in the evening, and the event was starting at 6, that the first opponent took off, and that they had another opponent that was on standby who had already been in the training camp, but he didn't have to cut the weight. And they said he was just going to weigh in. And I was like, as long as he's within a weight, I'm down to fight whoever. I don't care. I've been training for anybody. I'm prepared, because I'm my best version. I'm going to be me against anybody. And yeah, man, he showed up. 2 hours later, we shake hands. I see him get on the scale. We're within weight of each other. And I said, hey, let's go. And he says, thank you for the opportunity. We're going to fight. We go backstage. My 2 teammates get wins in impressive fashions. And I'm in the back warming up. They say, hey, you're on deck. You're next. There's a sheet in between us. And, I'm, warming up with my brothers holding mitts for me. And we're just getting in the zone, psyching ourselves up. And I could just hear the guy next to me, saying some outlandish stuff, like saying he didn't want to fight me. He didn't want to go out there and things of this nature. And I was in my mind, I started hitting the pads even harder, because I'm like, you're right. You shouldn't be in there with me. I'm not in here playing around. I'm here to deliver a message and set a statement, that Kane Kong is alive.
Damn. Psych the guy out. And so what was the actual, wow.
Yeah, so then they call like a little 5-minute intermission because I'm always thinking the guys are maybe trying to do some kind of mental warfare, possibly,
But to me, get you unprepared.
Try to get me to bring my aggression level down because I'm hitting those mitts. He probably thinks there's like explosions going off on the other side of that curtain. I'm in the zone. I'm ready to go out there. I'm really starting to become my true self. That warrior. That person that just wants to go out there and really push the envelope,
Yes, sir.
Prove everybody wrong. People always counting me out, but I'm still here, prepared to, go through any storm, any weather, with a positive attitude and some lethal capabilities.
Yeah, man. So this dude, when did you find out that this wasn't happening? So like you're by the curtain, you're intense, shadow box, and I've seen you fight. Like I can kind of picture what this warm up's looking like. There's the sheet between the two of you. He's on the other side already kind of doubting himself. Like, so the intermission happens. Like, walk me through, like, how does this like not happen? It's funny. Like, this is the most interesting a fight doesn't happen.
Hey, this is where it's about to get funny.
Awesome.
Right. Anybody who's ever cut weight or guys who fight know this happens all the time. Hey, right before you're getting ready to go fight, you're already rehydrated. You usually got to piss. Your nerves are going. You got butterflies. You're either pissing or you got to go drop a deuce, right? And I'm hitting these mitts so hard that I was like, oh shit, I feel like I got a deuce. I got to drop a deuce.
Oh no.
Right before, and I'm getting ready to go out next. And then they call that 5-minute intermission. And I'm like, man, that's a sign. I'm running to the porta shitter, going there, get it out, come out, feel like, now I'm ready to conquer it all. Boom, 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 boom. Promoter walks up to me and he was like, Kane, man, you're not going to believe what happened. And I'm like, I didn't know what happened, And then he was like, he was like, man, you're not going to believe, man. The second guy did the same thing the first guy did, man. He just got his stuff and left.
Shut up.
He refused to fight you. I'm sorry, man, but I'd like to bring you into the octagon and have you talk to your fans and get your message out because I know that's important to you.
Wow.
So they played my walkout song with my message and let me come out there and speak from the heart, because I told you it's not just about the fight. The fight is a beautiful thing, but it's after the fight is what I really care about.
So you enter the cage, you were in the bullpen, they're about to hit music. And this dude bounces, like you drop a deuce, great. He's about to come out, right? But then he wrong door. Oops. Like we don't know what happened. Let's just say he went out the wrong door, right? Well, whatever. Is that a no contest or is that a W for you because of forfeit? Like what? How does that work?
It went as a nothing.
Oh, it's just nothing.
Nothing.
Wow. At what stage is it?
I don't know what technicality is. I just know that
it's not on the record.
It's not on the record.
Huh. Well, I mean, it's to be fair, it didn't happen, but I think like that's like if his foot touched like the octagon and then he bounces, is that when it would officially be, or like does the bell have to ring for the fight to actually commence, like to start?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm interested. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't ever really look at records and shit like that. Whether it's 1-0 or 100-0, I'm going to be ready to go.
Man, so I'm seeing you guys use the UFC style, like the open finger style gloves.
Yeah, 4-ounce gloves.
Have you used the other ones? Have you seen the Bellator gloves? How it's like rounded over the fingers?
No, I have not used those yet.
They're I don't know. I was looking at some stats a while back, and apparently the eye poke thing, how they changed. You can't extend your hand with your open finger towards the eye or whatever, like just the range findy type thing, right? With the Bellator ones, like I guess you could technically, you're not supposed to do it because they said you can't, but apparently because the fingertips are covered, so like you apparently have less eye injuries with those. It's like finger pokes and broken fingers. So there was some stats done from I think, a number of UFC and Bellator events in a row. I think like 20 or something. And it was like every single one of those, there was at least one eye injury and one finger broken. And I think out of all of the events for Bellator, there was one since they instated the new, they use the new gloves. So, because you can still grapple with them because your fingers are open, but the padding like kind of has like a little bump over your fingers. So.
That's cool. I hope everybody starts using that.
Yeah, it seems like they make sense, but I mean, I feel like as long as the UFC still uses this style glove, I think most other promotions are going to use the same thing because if you're not used to that, maybe,
Yeah, and I heard somebody saying that if you took the gloves away, that there, maybe less injuries because people would have to be more cautious on how they strike. So the chances of them breaking their hands, would be less likely. So like, and the response people give to that is, oh, it's on TV and ratings and all the blood because there'd be more blood because knuckles are sharp and you're gonna cut flesh pretty easily, especially like where the skin's nice and thin right there. You hit somebody in the nose, it's gonna bleed regardless. But with a glove on, you're certainly the bare knuckle, you're gonna cut a cheek or a forehead or over an eye a lot easier with your bare knuckles. But what you're not gonna do is throw as hard as you would with a glove because you break that first hand, hit somebody in the forehead. You know what I'm saying? Just your bare knuckles, you're throwing as hard as you would just throwing like an overhand, like a bomb or whatever. That hand's done. So yeah, you're not gonna throw as hard, but you're just gonna have the types of injuries you're gonna have are broken hands, broken wrists, broken fingers, jam fingers, knuckles, whatever, dislocations, and more blood, right? But you're gonna have less concussions from strikes. With a hand, like elbows are still gonna cause concussions, knees are sure as hell gonna cause concussions. Like, all right, what are you gonna take the padding off the hands and add it to the knees, or I don't know. I think overall you would have less traumatic brain injuries if you took away the gloves, but you'd have a much bloodier sport. So like you'd be taking concussions away and adding hepatitis. You're like, I don't know. Maybe we'll start making it like virtual reality fights.
Oh yeah, like what was the robot movie with Hugh Jackman?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What was it? Oh man,
I don't know what it's called, but I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was stupid and everything, but it was like the fighting of the future, but they were these like Transformer size shit. Yeah,
the big robots where he was controlling them.
Yes,
he was the handler.
Yeah. Everything's a robot now.
That's where the future's headed, man.
Yeah, they some of these companies have these like avatar things. You ever seen Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
Sheldon, the Bazinga guy.
Yeah.
He has this robot thing. It's like a TV screen, and it wheels around, and it's his virtual presence or something. But it has a camera on it and a TV screen that's like his face, and it wheels around. And if you wanted to have a meeting instead of, having a big TV screen with a camera, you would have this thing would pull up to you, and it would be like Robo Kane or Robo Me or whatever. And so they have those now. It looks like a kiosk that just like wheels around, and it's I think they're like $5-6 grand or something. It seems like a tremendous waste of money. I feel like every invention literally out of Silicon Valley is some derivative of a fucking phone. Like, think about it. Like, what are the biggest things that have come out of there? And the biggest ones that people use the most. Twitter, big one, right? You could send 280 characters or 140 characters to whoever you want to. You can have a whole phone conversation anytime you want with a phone, and that shit's 100 years old. It's a phone. Everything's a phone. It's just how to make people lazier and more reliant on technology to do stuff you didn't need to do 30 years ago anyway.
All right, keep you away from yourself.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I like to turn these things off. Not this one though, because this is quality, on demand, high quality digital audio from the Clint Cronin Show. You wouldn't turn that off. But I mean that other stuff, like you probably shouldn't be listening to anything about Kardashians or fucking any of the other people like that.
Yeah, no, none of that. But you should be listening to this show.
You totally listen to this one. We're funnier. It's a little late right now.
I can hear everybody laughing.
They are. They're out there. They're kicking it. So I think podcasts are an awesome media, man, because you're not out there trying to appeal to like this big general group. You're like, to me, a podcast is like, it's like the people that I would hang out with anyway, but I just don't have to contribute to that conversation. It's the ones I listen to, and some of them aren't that big. They're not huge. But other ones, like I like the Joe Rogan Experience. He has really interesting guys. I'm sorry, man. If you're a jiu-jitsu guy and you have all like MMA guys, but you also have Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's cool. It's just cool, man.
Yeah, the Joe Rogan Experience is actually how I became interested in seeking out ayahuasca ceremonies. To help with the PTSD and veterans suicide stuff.
Yeah, that's I don't think I heard about it before then either. I think the first like mainstream person I heard it doing ayahuasca was Robin Quivers from Howard Stern show, and she had went to Peru, and I didn't know what the hell it was, and then I heard them talking about it on Joe Rogan, and of course, I'm like, strongest psychedelic known to man, what's that about? And you do some research, and you're like, oh, it's not a recreational drug at all, because it, at first glance, that's the first thing people think is, oh, they're out there in the woods getting high, but it actually helps a lot of people. Like the stuff I've heard is it's like the equivalent of like 10 years of like hard like therapy in a couple hours.
Yeah, I say like you drink alcohol too much, you get drunk and you start puking. You got a hangover, and you're not feeling well. When you're purging on ayahuasca, you're throwing up, but afterwards you're feeling a lot clearer.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, all the stuff you sort of just bury down in your stomach. Like, you go through and you have a bad thought in your head, or you're angry, or you said something you shouldn't have said, or you did something you shouldn't have did, or someone said something really pissed you off, and you just sort of put it away. You just hold on to those bad feelings, like road rage incident and shit, where people just blow up. But what the way I've heard it described is that purge that you have on ayahuasca, which it's basically when you drink this tea, it's your body rejects, I guess, some of the plant material that's made up of it. It's this big cleansing process your body kind of goes through, and it's this like guttural vomit that comes from your soul, and apparently it's the idea is that all of those things, like that negative energy bottled up, all comes out with that purge. I don't know how to describe that better, but does that sound right to you? Like,
no, it does, because I definitely felt that thoughts accumulated into throwing up. And I felt like you were getting rid of a lot of, deep-seated things, that you might have dealt with throughout your entire life, and because you definitely feel a lot better after you throw up, but it's not like a normal throw up. It's something completely different.
Yeah, I think when people...
It's not that bad.
That haven't tried this, I think what they think, and what I gather from, ew, I don't want to puke, that's gross, and that's the apprehensive sort of, but... Because I think when they think of throw up, they're thinking, man, that time I had food poisoning, or like that time I had that Taco Bell with the Jose Cuervo, and it was just disgusting, or I had white, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And that's not this. That's not the same thing. From a distance, it might look like that or sound like that, but they're different animals. Like, so first of all, you wouldn't be eating a damn Taco Bell or drinking a Jose Cuervo before you would try this, like at all. Like, everything that I've seen is basically, I think there's fasting or a whole diet you're supposed to follow before you do any of this stuff.
Yeah, the dieta.
Is that pretty in line with it? I mean, have you followed any sort of special thing?
Definitely, I'd say the first time I didn't know what I was doing or getting into, because it was a new experience for me. I was just taking a leap of faith. I hadn't nothing to lose. If it did anything that it said it did, I was willing to try at least, and I still had a very profound experience, life-changing, I'd say.
That's That's like,
and from that first time, you know, the times I've done it since, I have respected the dieta and have eaten cleaner and gotten better results. So I know it's just like anything, man. The more discipline you put into it, the more freedom you get out of it, you know.
I've heard of people restricting their diet to fasting right leading up to it, and I've heard others recommend vegan diets. I didn't know if that was maybe specific to that place or those people, or if it was something that was more maybe universal that has to do with that, you know, the ceremonies in general. Like, have you heard of the vegan thing being used as well, or is it just?
Yeah, well, I know at the ceremonies that the meals that they offer are always vegan. So I feel like it's probably a lot cleaner on your body.
Yeah, I wonder if it has something to do with like the history, or, you know, because this is how many generations have been doing this in, you know, the Amazon and Peru and stuff, and you have Santo Daime, it's a sacrament and you know, sort of like a spin-off of the Catholic Church in Brazil, and there's even there's branches of it in the United States now as well. So it's like it's a registered like legal religion in the United States, like full tax status, whatever, where the ayahuasca, the brew, the tea, taking as a tea is a sacrament, like a holy sacrament in a church, in a, you know, some sort of church similar to Catholicism. I don't know how similar, but I know it's definitely a sacrament the way I was initially Catholic, because I was what my parents did.
Yeah.
But they, you know, the sacraments that they had were like communion and confirmation and baptism, right? And I think, I don't know the name of it, but the ayahuasca thing is a sacrament in that part of it, in that church.
Yeah.
Which it's funny. It's like the westernized sort of version of, you know, something that's anyway like very, you know, primitive, not primitive, but just like the old way of doing things, like before technology and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, the organization that I started mentoring veterans through these ayahuasca ceremonies is the VET program, Veterans for Angiogenic Therapy, and the founder is Ryan LeCompte, another former combat veteran, and they're working miracles, man. They're saving lives, they're getting veterans help, and they're really, you know, decreasing the number on the veteran suicide rate by getting these guys treatment. You know, so if there's any listeners out there that are looking for good places programs to donate to, please look up Veterans for Angiogenic Therapy. You know, it's going to a real program that's really going to veterans and changing lives. You know, I'm a product of it, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for having a new outlook on life.
And so with the type of therapy and the nature of it, and that is like it's still a polarizing topic, you know, it's almost like the cannabis thing, right? Because people have such strong opinions of it because it was painted in such a way for such a long time with prohibition.
I'm a huge advocate for cannabis, you know, that saved my life.
I know it does a lot of people a lot of good. I think the prohibition is foolish for many, many reasons. You know, it's difficult. You know, in the past, you know, they would spin it in such a way that, you know, it's bad for you, or it's addictive, and, you know, it's gonna make you do bad things and whatever the hell else they would say. And alcohol's still out there, and you go through any of these major pharmacies and you see the types of things they're putting in pharmaceutical products and the dependence people get put on, and, you know, all the sugar in foods and all the fillers and stuff that just shouldn't be there, that just isn't food, and the medicine that isn't medicine, and, you know, their ability to sell these pharmaceutical products on TV and not knowing what the long-term impact is on people. But you take freaking plants, like actual plants that, you know, cannabis is one, the kratom's another one that the DEA is trying to like reschedule as like no therapeutic benefit. And, you know, like worse than crack or something, right? And then I don't even know the legality of ayahuasca, is it? But again, why? I don't understand. I feel like it's 2018 and there's so much information on why these shouldn't be controversial topics and why, you know, if it's helping people and it doesn't hurt anyone ever at all. I think the prohibition is foolish, and it just makes it more expensive for the people that actually need it.
Yeah, but I think it's a blessing when the people do find it, and I think that's how it starts. Is that person who found it is the one who goes and shares with their community, and that's how it spreads. You know,
it's a beautiful thing. A lot of people don't find the relief. So just, you know, everything from, you know, the CBD cream or something helping, you know, people with a neck injury to, you know, battling through and, you know, coming back from the post-traumatic stress syndrome and being able to,
or cancer patients. Yeah.
Even like people at the end of their lives, man, being able to actually smile and laugh. You know, I saw that on someone's post today. They were talking about, you know, how hard they were working to build their business. Like, this is a CBD company, right? But they still would get a lot of backlash and, you know, people just not being all that cool to them and just, you know, being real prejudiced towards the type of work and real judgmental and just talking crap and being gossipy, right? I don't know. And, you know, all the comments were like, you know, your CBD was what allowed my father and mother at the end of their life to laugh when they were in so much pain before. So they're always going to be thankful for that. And just like seeing that, I was like, it was like a sad thing to read, but it was really beautiful too. Cause it's like, you know, if they would have found it sooner, you know, it could have been laughing together, you know? So, yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy world, man. There's a lot of good stuff out there, and it gets harder and harder to find because, like, until it's a product and it's making somebody billions of dollars, like, it's wrong and it's bad. So it's definitely a good thing. So the organization, do you guys have a website, or how would people get more information?
Well, they could just Google Veterans for Angiogenic Therapy.
ANTIO?
ENTHEO.
ENTHEO. My ears are no good. I got old. Angiogenic.
Yeah, angiogenic.
Very cool.
And there's also a Facebook page as well.
Veterans for Angiogenic Therapy. So it's very cool. Have they looked at, is it mostly sort of DMT, or are they looking at other stuff? Any other, like? No,
right now they're just sending veterans through to ayahuasca ceremonies.
It's awesome.
And then doing a year-long integration afterwards, you know, with counseling and different support groups, and having a buddy assigned to them that they can speak to on a regular basis, you know, really giving them a way to build better habits. Because what we've noticed is that even people who have this profound experience, it's also your environment that you're around contributes to the issues that you may have. So these guys get the healing, and then they go back right to the environment they were in, and no one understands them because they are still attached to that stigma of, you know, a hippie or you know.
Yeah, it's because you aren't really speaking the same language anymore. You know, it's a different thing. Like, it's a very, you know, profound experience, and people haven't been there. I think it's hard enough anyway, in just trying to reintegrate with people anyhow, and then on that you're trying to explain something to them that they're most people are pretty judgmental about and have pretty strong opinions about, even though they don't know what it is until you tell them.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's one of those things where I've seen people try to describe it, and the person receiving this information would have no idea what they're talking about at all. But when they hear that it's a drug, they're like, "Oh my God, that's bad." You're like, "Wait, what?" But there's caffeine in your coffee and sugar. Those are drugs, and that's a cigarette, and that's a drug, and you're drinking a beer, and that's a drug. But I guess, again, $1 billion company has to sell it to you before you believe it's okay for you. But, there's no fucking Marlboro ayahuasca cigarette. But
wake up, universe, wake up.
Yeah, they got to get woke. The woken warriors. So you should, so therapeutically.
But I don't just recommend that for veterans. I mean, I recommend that for anybody that's looking for answers or looking for a new outlook, looking for a new approach.
I think it's like the best way to de-asshole someone. Like
for sure.
For sure. Reset them. Like the villain in like every single like 90s movie. Like the asshole, if they were to have ayahuasca, they'd probably be the good guy. Like how in that Cobra Kai movie or the show.
Yeah.
It's Cobra Kai, that's the show, right?
Yeah.
Have you
I've seen a couple episodes.
I watched, I don't binge watch shit. Like I don't spend much time with TV at all. And this shit was on YouTube. And I actually paid for the YouTube thing and watched all of it because I love the Karate Kid when I was a kid. Like that's what got me into martial arts. Like I was the wrong age for Bruce Lee stuff, but we had Karate Kid. And then Karate Kid Part 2. And I like the girl when they went to Okinawa. Yeah. I was like, I was from New Jersey. We didn't have anything that looked like that. I thought that was cool. I was like, man, she's hot. And that's what got me into martial arts, Karate Kid Part 2.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Like 1980, whatever it was. But yeah. So in terms of MMA and martial arts, are there any organizations that directly sort of use that as sort of the integration sort of therapy for veterans, or is it just sort of something you're recommending, or you work with guys privately? Like,
no, right now I'm working with guys privately, but I definitely do recommend that, doing a combo of some form of sports or, mixed martial arts in a safe environment, where it's the injuries are unlikely.
Yeah, they're all, and you don't have to necessarily.
You don't have to take contact at all. You can just train yourself real hard.
Yep. I mean, you don't have to do something crazy like go to perform at WFC 95 and coming up on September 8th. With step across the cage from Kane Kong Marzola, chances are you probably won't make it to the cage anyway. You got to make sure and lock that side door next time.
Yeah, that's where the confidence comes from, man. Being ready to kick that door down and not knowing what's behind it. So might as well kick the shit out of it and make it the best one ever.
Yeah, it'd be funny, like wear like those if the sheet doesn't go all the way down to your ankles, wear like those like Bigfoot feet, like big ass. Just wear like then like one day like wear like clown shoes. No, wear like different footwear so they could like they look down like what the fuck.
That's how I used to psych myself out before I when I was the point man and I had to kick the door down. I would tell myself, man, if this is the last kick you ever throw, make it the best one you've ever thrown. And I would send these doors flying. I wanted whoever was behind that door to be completely surprised, like what just came through there.
Oh shit! Like an explosion. That is Kane Kong, man. And so your brother's he's out right now. Is he looking at fighting again, or is?
I think so, man. I think he might come back and at least do one more fight. I think the MMA world deserves a chance to see him. He's still my favorite fighter of all time. He's just an awesome guy and an amazing, talented warrior. Besides being a combat veteran, it's just he's been plagued with injury bug. As a lot of us know, you trained hard. Things happen, and you just got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, man, I like your brother a lot. He's got a lot of personality, man. You guys are both a trip.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you.
Yeah, always has something right on the tip of his tongue to make you laugh. You're like, didn't expect it at all. Like, what did you just say?
King of the one-liners.
He's got some lines. He's got some lines for sure. We saw him with some close family friends from the Netherlands came to town. We saw him over at the bar he's at.
Yeah, Sake Rock.
Yes. It was the people we were with were like total fish out of water in that scene, but it was like cool. It made him feel at home. Look around. It was like everybody's wearing little black dresses going to like this Asian bachelorette party or something. It's like, look over at us. We're like, kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. There.
Everybody's doing sake bombs.
Oh yeah, just being loud and shit. We're just over here sipping our thing slowly, just eating something. It's a cool place though. Brother's really funny. Every time I went by there, it's like 1,000 degrees outside. But it's a cool spot. Man, are you following the Raiders move to town?
I'm not following it, but I support local teams.
It's cool. It's cool. You got a pro football team now. You guys have T-Mobile Arena, which is pretty dope. Been there once for like the fight week last year. It's a nice arena. I think the Raiders are already in preseason out here. Moves quick. They I just remember going to one or two of their games in Oakland. Those fans would trash the parking lot, trash it. I mean, I've been to other stadiums and other football, games and stuff where, they tailgate pretty hard, but Oakland fans give zero fucks.
I know I had to work security at one of the events to generate some money for one of our Marine Corps balls when I was on active duty. And it was Raiders versus San Diego Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, man, it was a lot of fights. I was like, it wasn't even about football. It was just about, it was like two gangs going at it.
Yeah, they're very tribal. That's the whole thing. Like, my team's my team and fuck your team.
I'm like, no, man, we're all on the same team.
Man, it's crazy. Like the Niners fans and the Raiders fans fundamentally do not like each other. But if you ever been to the Bay Area or seen a map of where Oakland and San Francisco are, it's a bridge. It's literally a bridge. You cross it and you're on the enemy side, and yep.
Yeah, but shouldn't be fighting each other over a jersey, over a sport.
Yeah, I mean, back in New Jersey, there's the Giants and the Jets, and they're called New York, but they never played a game in New York. They're in New Jersey. The stadium's in New Jersey, and all these fans and stuff, fighting with each other. It's like you can't even play both games at the same time. They only got one stadium. Who are you gonna fight? It's weird, but there's Giants fans and there's Jets fans, and screw them, I'm right. Screw you, you're wrong. But I don't get it. I mean, I get it. It's fun. We're all tribal. Everything it's community when we think it is or it's not. This is great. That's bad. The grass green or the whole thing. But I don't know. I like martial arts.
Me too.
But then again, I like the ones I do better than the other ones. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same.
We all have our likes and dislikes.
Exactly. And most of mine are, hopefully based on experience. But it's like saying there's no prejudice. It's like, nah, there is. It's natural. It's like a survival instinct of people and just animals in general. But I don't think there's a real big difference between a red shirt and a black shirt. I think they're both shirts.
Right.
Both those fucking monsters running full speed at you, about to tackle you. I don't think it much matters after you're flat on the ground.
No.
Oh, the shirt was blue. Sure it was. It's late. I'm rambling, and hopefully this is resonating with some people out there. And if it isn't, fix your resin.
Yeah.
That didn't make sense. It's okay. Well, real quick, this coming September the 8th, 2018, you want to hang out in Laughlin, Nevada. If you're in Las Vegas, get to Laughlin. If you're not in Las Vegas, get to Las Vegas, then get to Laughlin. Check out WFC 95 and see Kane Kong Marzola whip that ass all over Laughlin, Nevada.
Thank you, everybody. And again, to all my veterans out there, thank you for your service, man. Stay in the fight, and be bright for everybody around you, including yourself. And when you're at the fight, like he said, man, don't blink. I'm coming out there prepared and ready to put on a show like I always do. And I'm excited to, showcase my skills for you guys.
That's it, guys.
And I want to thank all my family and friends and my supporters that have been there since day one. I will never forget any of you. And that's what fuels me to train hard every day, no matter the pain, no matter the weather. I'm out there, because I know that it takes a lot of effort to get the results that I'm going after. You know, I'm going after the impossible. I'm going after that 1%.
Ain't nothing impossible, man. Gonna kill it. Thanks again for doing this. It's late. Appreciate the hospitality. Las Vegas, I love you. Thank you again for the hospitality, guys. I'll see you guys on September 8th in Laughlin. Kane Kong Marzola, episode 78, Clint Cronin Show. Want versus Need 2018. Much love.